Hello, everybody. Hi. I hope we are here. Hello, hello. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Good afternoon, good evening. I don't even know. Is it good evening? Is it afternoon? Anyway, thank you all for being here. My name is Laura González. I am a Islamaket. I'm a pagan priestess. I'm a spiritual community healer, writer, podcaster, social justice, and religious freedom activist. I'm a priestess of the goddess, and I am a minister with Circle Sanctuary. And I am very, very honored to be here. It's my pleasure to be here with you at LlewellynCon. I want to thank Anna and everybody else that put this wonderful event together with 40 authors, speakers. Is just fantastic. I see the chat room and it's just giving me life. Because what you don't know about me is that nothing gives me more joy and pleasure than to share the things that I know, and to teach is really my life and my passion. So I'm very, very happy to be here with y'all. And we have to go very quickly, so fear not. We're going to cover a lot of ground, literally. We're going to cover a lot of ground in the next 20, 30 minutes. So save your questions towards the end. Today we will be talking about some of the Mesoamerican mother goddesses, Citlalinicue, Coatlicue, and Chalchiuhtlicue. I am not expecting you to learn these names, but I put them on the slide show so you can visually get used to them. And these are the Mesoamerican mother goddesses. They are not necessarily, technically, they're not goddesses because Mesoamerica is not one country, one culture, and we're not a monolith. These are based on the Mesoamerican culture, what is being embraced as Mesoamerica, but they include Nahuatl, Toltec, and what is called Aztec, which is not the correct name. The name is actually Mexica Tenochca. With that to say, also that I am from Mexico City, but I'm coming to you from Chicago, the land of the Potawatomi, the Menominee, and the Miami people, and to remind you all that land acknowledgements should be accompanied by support for indigenous peoples now more than ever, if you know what I mean. All the indigenous people of the planet, for particularly the indigenous people here in the United States, we need all your support. So with that said, let's get to it. Just so you know, we're going to tap into three of the mother goddesses. They are 1,400 teteos or teots or siwateteos on the Mesoamerican culture. So we are just going to grab three of them, not all 1,400 of them. So the first one is Citlalinicue, she of the stars skirt, and she is the cosmos goddess. That's why she has that photograph of the Milky Way behind her. And her skirt, if you can see at the image of her skirt, her legs are crossed and you can see her skirt draping on top of her knees. And if you can see very closely, there are these flower-like details, and those are the stars on the cosmos. And she is the she of the stars skirt. She covers the known cosmos, and she covers, of course, our planet Earth. Her story is very linked to Mictlantecuhtli, the goddess of the dead, the goddess of the underworld. So this is a story where the protagonists are Citlalinicue, son, and Mictlantecuhtli, husband. However, it all happens because Citlalinicue gives the order. So let's go very quickly into the myth. The era in which we are living right now is the fifth sun, or the fifth era. And in this one, we are finally able to survive because the gods have created humanity 4 times before, and humans were very faulty. We couldn't continue living. So Citlalinicue tells her son to go to the underworld to meet with Mictlantecuhtli's husband, Mictlantecuhtli, and to recover the bones of the older generations to create a new generation of life. And the two men are, you know, testing each other and putting challenges into each other to get the bones. And Mictlantecuhtli husband says, you'll get the bones, but you have to go through all these challenges. So on the last leg of the challenges, Quetzalcoatl, Citlalinecue's son, is ready to leave, and he has a bag with all the bones of humanity prior, and he is tricked into falling, and he falls, and when he falls, he breaks the bag of bones, and all the bones of humanity are scattered on the floor. And he picks them up and gets all mad, and, you know, he goes back, and Citlalinicue and Cihuacuatl and other goddesses and other gods get together and they form humanity, who we are right now, right? But the myth is very important, and I really like the myth of Citlalinicue because she is telling us about diversity on humanity. When the bones are broken, it turns out that they're put together then differently. And because of the story of Citlalinicue, we know that humans can be tall or short, some can be thicker, some can be thinner, some can be very, very dark skinned, some can be very light skinned, and everything in between. And is this myth of creation from Citlalinicue that is promoting for us to embrace diversity and inclusion, and to observe that as vast as the universe is, with all the stars and all the galaxies and all the infinite known and unknown to us universe, that's how diverse and vast and different we all are. So that is our first goddess, and I think I did good on time. So we're going to go to our second goddess, who is Coatlicue, she of the snake's skirt. And I have to say very slowly because I always say it wrong. And she has another myth that is very, very incredible and beautiful. The myth of Coatlicue tells us about her pregnancy. She was sweeping her floor and a ball of feathers fell from the sky. And she picked up the feathers and put them on her bosom. And next thing you know, she's pregnant. And her daughter and her family, her daughter Chalchiuhtlicue, the painted with bells, remember that name because it's important. Chalchiuhtlicue, her daughter, was appalled because how was Coatlicue pregnant when she was a widow? That was not correct. And Coatlicue begins plotting against her mom with her 400 siblings. And they are plotting to destroy the pregnancy, to destroy the baby, and to destroy the mom. They don't want this child to be born, and they don't want the lives to come from Coatlicue. And what happened is actually Coatlicue, she of the snake's skirt, is the crust of the earth. And the snakes are all the ridges and mountains and plains and caves, right, that we see. And her son, who is about to be born, is the sun in winter, is Huitzilopochtli. And her daughter is the moon, she of the painted bells. And what this mythology, what this myth is telling us about, is about the birth of the sun in winter. The sun, who is the sun who is the baby, born from Coatlicue. Of course, these myths are said from the perspective of the earth, and we see that the sun is born on winter solstice of the earth, and it's a very tiny sun, it's a small sun, but it's a warrior sun, it's the son of Huitzilopochtli. And why is he a warrior son? Well, because the sun in winter has to be a warrior to carry us through, and then it becomes Quetzalbird, and then it becomes an eagle. Right now that we're ready to go into summer solstice, the sun will be an eagle in a few days, actually. But in winter, that little sun is Huitzilopochtli, and her sister, the moon, and her 400 siblings are the stars. That's why when Huitzilopochtli is born, the stars are destroyed is because the light of the sun um, destroys her siblings, destroys, disappears other stars. And she of the painted bells, right? Because she gets the colors, she gets the color from the sun. So that is a beautiful story of creation. And with Coatlicue, what we learn is that her energy encourages us to be sustainable, to have good practices for nature, to be in alignment with the seasons and with the rhythms of nature. Here in the north in Chicago, we do have 4 seasons, but in Mexico, we only have 2 seasons. And then, of course, in the south, we have the opposite seasons that we have in the north. And it's always important that we are in tune with the earth and that we do the work of conservation and sustainability. Of course, the most important sustainable efforts should be for the mega corporations, but we can still do our part more than anything to be in tune with the ancestors and with the land. So if you are ever so lucky to fly over going towards California or Mexico, I had that opportunity in September of last year, and we were flying over the mountains, and you could see Coatlicue and all her splendor, all those snakes going up and down like mountains and ridges. So it's beautiful, and you can honor her by being um, conscious and conscientious of the climate and preservation. And of course, for Citlalinicue, you can honor her by being conscientious and open and embracing diversity, right? So the next goddess, I can't believe how good I'm doing with time, Anna. We're doing this. I'm so happy. Those who know me know I am very, very, very full of words, but I really prepared for you all for today. So thank you for putting up with me going in speed of light. So the third and last goddess that we're going to talk about today is Chalchiuhtlicue. Chalchiuhtlicue. I know these names are incredibly foreign for people who are not familiar with that. But yeah, she's Chalchiuhtlicue, and her name means she of the jade skirt. And the jade is making illusion of the shimmering colors of the rivers and the lakes and all the freshwater bodies, especially when they're close to the shore and the wind hits, and you can see that color, that beautiful jade color of the water. And also the stones that are on the riverbanks, how they are polished, right? With the passing rivers, and that is Chalchiuhtlicue polishing the jade of the rocks, and it's an allegory as well for us to polish our emotions and to polish our words before we deliver them to other people. Needless to say, water is life. Can you all say it with me, please? Water is life. It's been said so much that it has been lost in translation, but the truth is water is life. There is one water. There is no more water coming from another planet. We are not going to any other planet to find water. There is no recycling water other than the natural filtration of water. So our ancestors are connected, or future descendants are connected to us through water. And water possesses infinite wisdom, and of course is what gives us life. So Chalchiuhtlicue don't have necessarily a specific myth that is related to her, because she is on everything and everyone at every time. She is water, and water is life, and it's everywhere. So she has been revered for thousands of years, and her name, Chalchiuhtlicue, is not only the name of a goddess of a teteo, but it's also a job title, because all of these goddesses that represent functions of the earth, particular functions, are also job titles. And that is too much to get into, so we're not going to get into it. But yes, we are mostly water, between 68 to 78% water. It is said that is within, even our bone cells have water. I'm reading, but I'm trying not to get too distracted. So, she has been revered for thousands of years, and Chalchiuhtlicue is the most beautiful blessing that we get um, when we are born. The very first blessing that we get as children when we're born is a blessing from Chalchiuhtlicue, and I'm going to paraphrase it because again, um, the time is of the essence. But um, when the baby is born after he is separated from the cord from their mother, the baby is blessed with water. So the tlasolteo, the tlamacasca, the priestess will put water on their lips and will say, you know, she will be with you your whole life, so get to know her, Chalchiuhtlicue. And then they put water on their heart to regulate their emotions, and then they put water on their liver to have this filtration and to know that water is what cleanses and keeps us alive. And then they put water on their little hands and their little feet. And the blessing on the hands is for their actions, and the blessing in their feet is for their behavior. And it was customary on ancient times for the Nahua people that the first thing that we did was getting to know Chalchiuhtlicue. So she don't need no flamboyant myth. She needs just to be recognized as one of the most important, if not the most important, representation of the divine on earth. And she is found on all the rivers, the lakes, the rain when it's falling in puddles, and of course springs and rivers, and you know, all the fresh water sources. Her connection also is for us to emotional intelligence. It's no secret for a lot of us, whether you're pagan, indigenous, magi, Wiccan, whatever it is that you practice, a Sufi, I don't know. In magic, we have this relationship with water and wellness, emotional wellness. And there is a connection with Chalchiuhtlicue and emotional intelligence because she teaches us to, like water, take the form of the vessel that contains us, that sometimes we have to flow like the river and just go with the flow, that sometimes we have to rise like a tide and be intense, or that we can just rest and lay back like a pond, right? That is not moved, not even by the wind. Like the sacred cenotes in Mexico, right? Those body of waters that are inside of the rocks. But also to rise up like a tsunami at times, right? We have to let our water boil. And sometimes that water has to be let go, right? We have to cry. So she is within us and around us and everywhere, and we need her to survive. Speaking of which, water. And we can connect with her, obviously, doing water work, drinking her water, bathing, washing, but also taking care of rivers and lakes. It's very customary for us to offer flowers on the rivers and lakes, especially if you're going to go and bathe, especially if you're going to go and wash, especially if you're going to go and have a good time. Always salute Chalchiuhtlicue and give her some flowers and ask her to keep you safe while you enter in her bodies of water. And obviously, um, you know, to help you with emotional regulation and with love, with self-love, with infinite love, with giving love and receiving love. So there you have them. I can't believe I put all that in 20 minutes. This photo on the background that you see is the Lake Pátzcuaro in Mexico. It's a lake that is endangered of drying out. But I figure it was a perfect image for us to connect with them, to see them on their land, on their natural habitat. And of course, we have Citlalinicue, the goddess, the stars. You can see the stars on her skirt. We all are a star. We all are connected to the cosmos. And when the divine decided to create itself, it created all the stars, and we are part of that creation. We are all children of Citlalinicue. It doesn't matter where we come from, what language we speak, what color we are all stars. Coatlicue, all the mountains and all the ridges and all the earth in which we dwell, in which we talk, in which we walk and exist. And she created one earth, right? No borders, no nothing. It's just the earth for everyone. And then, of course, the water, Chalchiuhtlicue, that is our life. I see that there are already popping up some questions on the chat, so I'm going to ask you to hold on one more second for questions. I just have to let you know you can find my work collaborations on Llewellyn. I am part of Dream Witchery with LlewellynCon. I have a beautiful, I would say it's beautiful because I wrote it, spell for night blessings. I'm obviously on the Cancer Witch with a protection spell with the Chariot. And on the Magic Almanac of 2025, I wrote about the mascales, the sweat lodges, or the water bathing, and it has to do with Chalchiuhtlicue and Tlazolteotl and all of that. And we also have future collaborations with Llewellyn because I am going to be on the Everyday Witches Book of Deities, where I talk about other deities that are not Mexica, that are my patron god and goddess, Fortuna and Mercury. And I'm going to be on your 2026 Witches calendar for Llewellyn. I am Miss January, so you can find my collaboration, a family spell with candles that my mom used to do every year. So you'll find that on the Llewellyn Witches calendar. And of course, I put on the screen for you all to scan that little blue QR code to find my website, to sign up for my newsletter, to find all my offerings. On my school, I teach a whole course that is called Decolonizing the Goddess. And we talk about all of the goddesses, not all 1,400 of them, but from year one, last year, we have 11 goddesses. And this year, we're aiming to do 12 goddesses. They're all Mexica. They're all Mexica Tenochca. They are all part of my lived experiences as a Mexican. And I speak about all of them. The classes are very affordable. They're only $30. And it's an hour and a half in which I'm not running and talking like this, but we go in depth into the mythology of each one of the goddess, pulling threads from the past to build a beautiful tapestry into the future. So please join me on the classes. They are all on demand. You can access the videos whenever. And there are other classes and other things that I offer on my website. So you really want to scan that QR code and sign up. And now we have but 7 minutes for questions. So please write down your questions. Will you be on the Witches Date book as well? I don't know. I think they put them on the same. I believe that what goes on the calendar will be on the Witches Date book, but that's more like an Anna question than a Laura question. But are there any questions about the Mother Goddesses or about my work? Llewellyn Book says we will find out. I hope, fingers crossed. And Sarah from Chicago, hello. Maya Aztec or Olmec, these are all so-called Aztec. Let's correct that. This is Mexica Tenochca culture or Mesoamerican. Aztec is a made-up by colonizers word that is not part of our languages. Just to clarify, how can we respectfully approach each of these, even if we don't have direct lineage? Thank you. You can approach them as you will approach your mother's or your grandmother's collection of handkerchiefs, with respect and with care. When you are calling on these forces, when you are doing work with these forces, when you are embodying these forces, you are also calling on the ancestors. And they come. And they come and they answer. So, again, these are not teteos, these are not deities that I will do spell work with or um, to do magic with them, but rather to ritualize your day-to-day activities. You can ritualize Citlalinicue by being diverse and inclusive on your everyday life. You can ritualize with Coatlicue by being respectful of the earth and your own body. You can ritualize with Chalchiuhtlicue by going to a river or a lake and sing her a song and give her some flowers. All of them love flowers. All of them love songs because that's what our people did, singing and flowers. Um, and you can honor them by just calling their name and connecting with them. Can you please explain the relationship between Coatlicue and Coyosauqui? They're mother and daughter. They're mother and daughter. So the mother is Coatlicue, Mother Earth, and Coyosauqui is her daughter, the moon. And they are part of that myth in which the sun is born and they have this relationship. So like I should say every, but like a lot of um, mother-daughter relationships, they are complicated. If you're a mother, you know that. If you're a daughter, you know that. If you're a mother and a daughter, you know that. And such is the relationship between them. But yeah, they're mother and daughter. Uh, do any do you do any of the goddesses that are Purepecha? Not that I know specifically that one is Purepecha. What happened after colonization is that all the culture got kind of clumped into one terminology that is Mesoamerican. And Mesoamerican culture will be like all central Mexico, all the way down right before to the Yucatan Peninsula, because from the Yucatan Peninsula down is all Maya. And I know nothing about Mayan culture, but I know about the Mesoamerica. And I believe that some of these come from the Purepecha people, but I'm not 100% sure. Thanks for letting us know they're not meant to be used in magic or spells. Thank you for asking that. You suggest powerful deity goddesses to call on to help during this tumultuous political time. Yes. Chantico, Chantico, Chantico. Call into Chantico. Um, there is a class on my website for Chantico, and there is also a class that I did a few months back for the Hour Sorcery Hour event with Elohim Leafar, where I talk about Chantico and with Huitzilopochtli. And there is also a wonderful podcast that I did with Granddaughter Crow, where we talk about activism and tapping into our indigenous cultures. But I highly recommend that you go on my website and you find the class for Chantico and you connect with that. Um, yeah, and what do you do with them? Well, again, call them then, call them then, call them then. If you have um, if you have the ability to get some copal incense, Copal, copal, light up copal and just think of them. They love copal, excuse me. They love copal as an offering and flowers and chanting. And even if you don't know any chanting in Nahuatl, sing a song that you will sing for your mom, or sing a song that you like, or sing a song about water, or um, sing a song that you like, and give them flowers and light up the copal and think about them. George says I have large copal incense cones. That is wonderful. Phil asks, have you ever visited Teotihuacan and commune? I am from Mexico City, so yes, I have visited Teotihuacan. It's right outside the skirts of Mexico City. Not only that, but the time I visited, you could still go on top of the pyramids. So I actually climbed the Sun Pyramid, and it's been beautiful. I have never been there. Uh, After that, I've never been there for the solstices or the equinoxes. I'm very sensitive to a lot of energy, so I've never been on those times, but I have heard that is wonderful. Can we tour the areas where the statues are? You can go to Mexico City. Definitely go to Mexico City and definitely go to the Mexican Museum. What is it called? Oh my God, the name is escaping me, but there is one museum in Mexico City where you have all the Museo Nacional de Antropología e Historia, National Museum of Anthropology and History, the National Museum of Anthropology and History in Mexico. You can find a plethora of statues, and you can go there. And if you go there in March 12th, you're in for a big treat, because some of the danzantes go to the museum and, have a party. I've never taken so many notes in my life. Mel says, I love it. Mary Mead from Michigan. Mary Mead to everybody. I know it's 30 minutes on the mark. I want to say thank you. You guys give me life. And as a brown indigenous migrant at this moment, I really, really need it. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Tlaskamati, send Tlaskamati from my heart to you all. My name is Laura González, and until we meet again, never forget that you are loved. Bye-bye.